there's just something about like these fans that they'll see Nate Diaz, they'll see him get his ass kicked time and time again. They'll see Jake Paul beat up Anderson Silva, and Anderson Silva looked pretty damn good in that fight. And they just think, oh, it's just Anderson. He's old. Give Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz will fuck him up. You know what people were saying before this fight? They were saying he won't fight Anderson. He ain't gonna fight Anderson though. Anderson will kick his ass. At first, when this fight was made, I thought Anderson was gonna beat him. I was wrong. And I'm not like a big fanboy of Jake Paul. Like I was wrong. I got to give him the respect. He's a good fighter. I think Jake Paul, and I think we should do the next segment. This is a whole new segment. I think we should do it anyway. I think Jake Paul beats basically every single UFC fighter that's 185 pounds and under. Like his toughest fight, in my opinion, would be like Alex Pereira. But I mean, I think he would beat Izzy.
Yeah, Izzy would be tough with the reach, but Izzy,
It'd be
the
tough, but like
striking
Izzy's
is so
not
much
that
different.
great of a box. He throws
It's
kicks
different.
like that's his bread and butter.
Yeah, it's a lot different. This kind of striking is a lot different. Izzy doesn't have the best jab, which is a lot more important in boxing.
Yeah.
Um, his yeah, I agree. I think Izzy would have he doesn't have too much power. Like I know he's accurate, but when you have the boxing gloves, when you have the defense of having the boxing gloves, like to like keep your hands up, like that a lot of those punches aren't landing, you know? So I do think Izzy, I think that would be a tough fight, but I would probably still favor Jake Paul in that fight. But I think when you look at it, like you can see guys like Costa, he smokes Costa, he smokes Vittori,
I saw some guy leave a comment on my TikTok saying Costa would beat him. I was just
based
like,
off
are
what?
you kidding me?
Based off what?
Based
You know what I'm
off
saying?
what? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, like Costa has no, yeah, Costa would have no chance. Costa was struggling with his striking against Luke Rockhold. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, like he looked terrible in that
he
fight.
didn't
Even his
look
boxing looked
yeah.
terrible.
What do you think would have happened if Jake Paul was boxing Luke Rockhold? Like you know what I
Knock
mean?
him out. And
Or
here's the
even
thing,
with
like,
4 ounce gloves.
yeah,
4 ounce gloves.
his
Imagine.
toughest fights, in my opinion, are Whitaker, Adesanya, Pereira. But you have to think about them all. Like
Oh, he fucks
against
up
Whitaker,
Whitaker. He fucks
Whitaker's
Whitaker
chinny.
up.
Whitaker's chinny.
Oh,
Whitaker's chinny. Yeah, I think he beats
he's
Whitaker. And the thing is, with Adesanya and Pereira, like Jake Paul's going to continue to improve. So we're like maybe a few fights ago, a year ago, yeah, sure, but like he's going to get better.
yeah.
He's only going to get better, and those guys are not going to start training boxing only.
Yeah.
So
And they're old. They're getting older.
they're
I
getting
think
older.
I think he dominates Whitaker. I think he puts him out in the first 5 rounds, honestly. I think Izzy would be a tougher fight, but I could definitely see Jake winning because Jake, like Izzy struggled against guys like these gritty guys. Like Jake Paul's a gritty guy. Like he struggled against a gritty Calvin Gastelum. Like, yeah, guys with a lot of power Izzy struggles against. Like, you know what I mean? Like Jan Blachowicz, stuff like that. Jake Paul is a similar size to Israel Adesanya, you know? Like he's not like one of those small opponents like a Jared Cannonier um, who has to worry a lot about the reach and height. I think Pereira would be a tough fight for Jake just because of the power he has and the accuracy and his experience, like knocking people out brutally, also with gloves on, with those 10-ounce gloves on. Um, I know Izzy has experience with kickboxing, obviously, but he wasn't knocking out people like the way Pereira was. You know what I'm saying? And Pereira was doing it with his hands, not like you know, like he was mostly doing it with his hands. Izzy had a lot of with his kicks and stuff. So yeah, no, I think Pereira would be the hardest fight, but I think everyone else, I think Jake Paul beats for sure. People saying Masvidal would have a chance. Like, come on, like based off what you know? I mean,
He's
Masvidal's
37, 38 years
30.
old.
You
Like,
think
and,
he's
and people forget striking in an MMA cage under MMA rules is very different.
oh
Like, yes, Masvidal beats Jake Paul in an octagon,
oh
even with
obviously
striking at 100%. Like, we're not sitting here and saying that Jake Paul is a better striker in general. We're saying he's a better boxer under a boxer rule set.
yeah
Masvidal has never really fought under that rule set. And like the guy's 37, 38. He's 170 pounds. He's undersized. Sure, he's a better boxer than Tyron Woodley. Like, sure, he may be a little bit quicker and like younger than Silva, but like he loses. And we're talking about the next Jake Paul. Like Jake Paul's going to continue to improve.
only getting better.
That's what I'm saying. Like right now, you give him Izzy, you give him Pereira, tough fights. But by the time that would ever happen, like you know what I mean? I'm just gonna say it now. I think there's only a select few guys, and it's really just like Izzy Pahea. And obviously the heavyweights and some of the light heavyweights are different, but everyone else, 185, I think Jake Paul
Yeah.
beats.
I
And
also
again,
think
we're
the
not
other
saying he's a better fighter. Like we know he would get his ass kicked by like Whitaker and even Vittori in an MMA fight, but like in boxing, he's gonna win straight up. He's a
Yeah,
good
I also
boxer.
think that
Got to
people
give him
don't
the respect.
realize the difference in boxing and MMA is like the MMA volume of punches that they throw is not even close to the level of punches you throw in boxing. And Tyron Woodley was talking about it in like an interview, how like his arms was just tired by the time it was the fourth round. And I think that's a factor that people got to keep into mind, like a guy like Paulo Costa, who already gasses out in all of his fights. Like you have him box where you have to throw triple the amount of punches. Like you don't think he's going to gas out? You think Masvidal would gas out? Masvidal doesn't have the best cardio. I know
No,
Izzy's got good cardio, but he's never thrown that kind of volume and punches. You know what I mean? And we know Izzy's used
yeah.
to it.
Izzy got outboxed by Robert Whitaker, bro. Like
Yeah.
he got
So
out jabbed by Whitaker.
yeah, if you get out jabbed by Robert Whitaker, imagine what would happen if you box Jake Paul. Like seriously, like yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think the volume is the biggest thing. Those guys aren't used to that level, that amount of volume with punches because they throw
So,
Izzy
so
also
who do you think he should
throws a
fight
lot of punches.
next?
I think Jake Paul should fight. He should really try to get the Tommy Fury fight again but I think Fury would only do it in London, maybe. I think the Tommy Fury fight, I think that would be an easy fight for him. I think it's just so tricky because like people hate on Jake Paul for not fighting boxers, but if he fought a
What
pro boxer,
boxers could he fight? You know?
nobody would tune in or nobody would really care to see it because nobody would know the name.
Yeah.
I'm saying. So I think that's why the Tommy Fury fight is intriguing, just because like
People know the
he
name.
people know the name because it's a Fury.
Yeah.
I think they know that he's not one of the best boxers, but he is a boxer and he's similar age, similar height, similar reach.
Yeah.
But the thing that people don't realize is that Jake Paul said it is he was supposed to fight Fury and then Silva. That was the plan. Silva was going to be after those guys. He's supposed to be after the Ramens. He's supposed to be after the Furies. Like that was supposed to be something he did like a year from now. You know what I mean? So 2 years from now, like he wasn't planning on doing this, which makes it even more impressive. But yeah, I think the Fury fight does make sense, but Fury pulls out of how he is. Like I think
Yeah.
he's scared to fight Jake. But I think if they made that fight, I think that'd be cool. Like he's just in a tough position, because you like we said the Nate Diaz one, like that's a fight that like Nate Diaz has no business being in the ring with him. And I think for Jake, I mean, if that's an option, you take it, that's the easiest fight. Sells a lot of pay-per-views, beat the fuck out of Nate Diaz. Like if that's an option, I would take it if I'm Jake. But in terms of he wants to really involve his boxing career, like that's not the fight at all to make. That's backtracking, like right at
I just don't want to see that because they're like at least with the Anderson Silva fight, there was some interest and it lived up to expectations because Anderson Silva like went in there and he showed that he wasn't washed up. Like he wasn't just some old guy.
no.
Like you could not sit there watching Anderson Silva and tell me with a straight face that is like just your average washed up MMA fighter.
Oh yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah. No,
Bullshit.
no way.
He looked phenomenal.
The way he was
And
pressuring him,
yeah,
like, yeah, no. And the way he was
yeah.
getting him in the
His head movement, like, dude, the guy he's like, he's still a spider in there, bro.
he's
you
still
know?
really good. Yeah. Because I think the biggest thing that people were wondering about Silva was his chin, his speed, his power. To me, all three of those things were very impressive. I thought he
Chin
was I,
impressed me.
I thought he was quicker than Jake Paul there. I thought he was very powerful too. A lot of those punches that Jake ate, I think a lot of people would have gotten knocked out by.
I
And
got
I
a
think
question. How did you
also
score the fight?
I also wait. Also, I think that my last point before that.
Yeah, yeah.
I also think like the chin, like he ate some big punches from Jake too. So
Oh,
the
yeah.
three things that were people were not sure about going in this fight and were favoring and were saying that that's why Jake is for sure going to win. Anderson lived up to like went way past the expectations for that. Like his power was really good. He had the speed advantage over Jake, and his chin was very good too. So that doesn't mean that's not an old fighter out there, guys. Like I know his age is 47, but he did not look like a 47-year-old out there. He looked like a 30 something year old pro boxer, you know?
Yeah.
He also had the huge reach advantage over Jake. So when Jake was landing on Anderson, like that was just like he had to really, really work for that, you know what I mean? Which was even more impressive. And Anderson was a southpaw too. But wait, what did you say again? What
I
I
said, how did you score the fight? I had Jake winning
um
5 rounds to 3 or 6 rounds to 2.
so I think that scoring the fight was a bit tough in person, I would say. Because I was trying to watch it. So they had the big TV, they
Yeah.
had like the big screen, and then like I didn't want some of the fights before that I was watching the big screen, but for the main event, I was like, I gotta watch the fight like in person. You know what I mean? So watching it like just straight up, it was kind of harder to see. But I thought Jake for sure won round one. I thought Silva for sure won round two. Jake for sure won round eight. So that's 2-1 Jake right now. Round three, I would probably say. Do you? I don't really remember that round too much, but it also if you're giving round eight's a 10-8, so that's already 2 points there. You get 1 point for round one, so that's 3-1. Round seven, I thought was that a Silva round? I'm trying to remember. I
I don't
thought
remember. I just remember only giving Silva like 2 clear rounds, and there may have been one other round that was very
yeah,
close.
because I think what was happening was just from watching in person, Jake was starting the rounds off really well, landing the very clean punches and stuff. And then Silva was finishing out the rounds well.
Yeah.
But the punches that Jake Paul was landing were way cleaner than the punches Silva was landing. Like you said, like Silva was getting Jake in the corner and he was throwing a bunch of punches, but it wasn't clear if they were really landing clean or if they were just
Yeah.
hitting gloves. As when Jake was landing, he was landing clean. You know what I'm saying? He was landing some like on Instagram I saw today, like one of Jake's combinations, and it was beautiful. Like he landed this beautiful combination. Logan Paul went crazy, great
Yeah.
combination, whatever. Um, that's what I was very impressed with. Because I feel like Jake in his past fights, he just didn't have that in his arsenal. You know what I'm saying? Like I know he could throw some combinations, but it was kind of just like 1, 2, 3s, stuff like that, like kind of simple things, I guess. But he was throwing some advanced stuff out there last night, and he was landing on Silva. You know, Silva. You can say what you want about his age, but he's got some of the best head movement there is, not just not in MMA, boxing,
Yeah.
all overall. Um, so yeah, no, I think that Jake Paul for sure won that fight, but I would say just being there, there was certain moments where I was like, there's a chance that Silva could be ahead. But in the earlier stages, you know what I'm saying? Like in rounds 1 to 5, I was a little bit worried. But after that, I really was like, okay, Jake is probably gonna get this. And then the knockdown happened. The arena went crazy. It was clear that that would be enough. I thought that Jake was gonna finish him after he knocked him down. That's what I was thinking. Were you thinking the
Same.
same thing?
Oh yeah, I thought like, oh no, it's over. I started to feel bad, for
Yeah.
Silva, but
It was
yeah.
crazy that he held up in there. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Jake
it
was
was
trying.
interesting. Like he very impressive.
Jake was trying to go for the kill. He
Yeah.
completely was trying to go for the kill with that. And yeah, no, that was really impressive. But I thought that Jake Paul clearly won. But the thing that's crazy is that people like, first of all, people say this. Look, people are saying it's rigged. Like, look, so Anderson Silva is going to try to go out there, put up a very professional performance that makes people say that he won the fight, and it's still rigged. Like, it can't go both ways. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Anderson couldn't have truly won the fight, and she got robbed, and it be rigged at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's just
They
it's
wouldn't they
logic
wouldn't pay a guy to like go in there and
and
almost
do
beat Jake
and do
Paul.
very well. Yeah, like
Do
almost beat
very
Jake
well.
Paul.
Like
Yeah,
not at all. And
yeah,
those like at the end of the day, the whole rigged conversations, like you can't fake these punches, bro.
yeah,
Like
yeah. You can't
straight up,
fake
you can't
power.
control whether or not you're going out. Like some of these punches could put you out, bro. You
Yeah, like
know?
and especially in person, like you see like how hard they're hitting each other. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You can't.
So were these guys taking a lot of damage? Do you think like overall in that fight they
Oh,
took a lot of
they were
damage?
taking a lot of headshots. That's what I was
Damn,
noticing.
like I wonder, I know Jake Paul wants to be a fighter, but man, is it really worth it when you have all that much money? Same with
Yeah,
Silva. Like at this point, I guess they just really like the sport.
I think he just fell in love with the sport. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the thing about Jake Paul is that he was a controversial guy at first. Like, I mean, like a lot of people didn't like him. A lot of people thought he was a piece of shit and thought he was a dick, whatever. And I think boxing truly changed him for the better. You know what I mean? And I think it really made it like he fell in love with the grind. I think it made him a different person. I think that's a lot of the reason why he's really wants to continue this career, But he wants the guy, he wants to be a light heavyweight champion someday, and I can't not believe him at this point. You know what I'm saying? It's so hard to like not believe in Jake at this point. Like he continues to prove us wrong. You know what I'm saying? So until he loses, like I gotta believe what he says. And if he says he could beat Canelo, honestly, in 2 years, I honestly believe him. I truly do believe him.
I think that Jake Paul's improving at such a rapid rate, and I think he has potential, man. I mean, you got to think about it. He has everything going for him. He has talent. He has an amazing team. He has a lot of money. A lot of money can go into those training camps, can go into those improvements. I mean, most boxers, or let's say 99.9% of boxers, do not have what Jake Paul has. Like,
no,
he do not have the ability to accelerate this much and grow this much as a boxer this quickly. You got guys like Canelo that do, but like at this early in your career, that's
Canelo's
dangerous.
older
So
also. Also,
he's
we saw
he's making up for all the time that those other boxers would have had training at a young age.
Yeah, also the thing about Canelo is that Canelo struggled against a guy Bivol who fought at 170. If he fought
Yeah.
Jake Paul, he'd fight at 185. Canelo was gassing out. What if the first thing I have to say is that Canelo wouldn't knock out Jake Paul? I know he's got tons of power. People say for his weight class he hits like a fucking truck, which I do agree about. But size matters, and Jake
I think
Paul.
he could knock him out with punches and bunches, though. Like that's the thing. I don't think one shot knock. I don't think Canelo. He might not be able to punch like knock him out with one shot, but like, dude, Canelo, that guy's like a little truck. If he hits you, with a good combo, like full force, dude,
He
you're gonna
couldn't
go
knock
out.
out a 40-year-old Triple G.
True, true. Triple G might just be built different, but you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
You're
like
right. I think that
I
there's a
doubt
good
that
point.
you know what I'm saying? I doubt that Triple G, I doubt that a 25-year-old Jake Paul who's a lot bigger, who hasn't taken as much wear and tear, has a worse chin than Triple G. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, I'd agree.
and
I'd
I
agree with
think
that.
like you put the extra weight on Canelo, his stamina will go down. What if Canelo's outboxing Jake the whole fight and Jake lands a big punch late in the fight and knocks him out? I don't think that would be out of the real realm of possibilities. Like I think that's a real chance. I don't even necessarily think that Jake needs to beat Canelo. You know what I'm saying? Like I think he just needs to look good, and I think that would be enough.
Yeah.
But do you think that fight will ever happen?
I think if Canelo has any sense, it will.
But
I
do you
mean, listen,
think
I
that
think Canelo beats Jake Paul right now, but I still think that, listen, if Canelo doesn't seem like the kind of guy who wants to take that fight, he seems like,
scared?
I think that's a little bit of his ego. I think in a way, I think he'd just be scared to lose to the guy. I mean, listen, I don't think he should risk it for his legacy, but
Yeah.
I think Canelo would beat him right now. But he is getting older and he's not that big compared to Jake
Yeah.
Paul. So I mean,
And
think about it like that.
we
There
also
are,
saw
yeah,
we also saw like how it was just clear that his cardio like took a hit when he fought in the bigger weight class. So I
yeah.
mean, I don't know. I think maybe a few years from now, but I don't know. Yeah, yeah. I was very impressed with Jake Paul overall, and I honestly, it'll be interesting to see who he fights next.